Okay, so in the context of flexible automation, we are going to see how these machining centers are helpful. Okay, so how do we implement flexible manufacturing, okay, in the industry? So when it comes to manufacturing, we are calling flexible manufacturing system. Flexible automation is a concept. If applied to a manufacturing industry, you call it flexible manufacturing system. Okay, so how these machines are helpful, we'll see. These are the four categories that we can make: machining centers, turning centers, mill turn centers, and multitasking machines. So basically, these four categories we can make. So what the objective behind all of these automated machines is, what is to reduce the number of separate workstations and corresponding setups by which a workpiece is to be processed as few as possible. So we want to have a machine that is able to take care of the different product needs, right? Process needs. It should be able to process different parts, and not just parts, different processes also. So you don't have to have separate machines for separate processes. Okay, so that's what the objective is, to reduce the setup time. And how do you reduce that? You reduce it by reducing the number of workstations, because if there are 5 workstations, each workstation the part has to go through, and it has to spend there some time for setup, also for processing also. So if you want to avoid that, you have to minimize the number of machines, right, that the part is going through. So if in place of 5 machines, if you're able to process it to only 3 machines, then those the other 2 machines which are now eliminated, their setup times have been saved, right? And also the handling time, the material handling time, right, also that is also minimized. Your automated material handling system will also be efficient, right? Need not to have more and more links between the workstations. So all these are advantages, right? So the objective of all of these is to reduce the number of workstations that the part has to go through, to as few as possible. Ideally 1 machine, that's the ideal situation, but it could be either 2 or 3. Okay, but ideally 1 machine. So the strategy is combine operations. We have learned in the 10th strategy of automation, the strategy 2 was combine operations. To be able to automate better, you are trying to combine the operations so as to reduce the non-productive time, right? So it falls in that category, you can say, another correlation. So you see what we are trying to do graphically, I mean diagrammatically. If you see, the part comes in, setup time is required, right? And then it runs, the machine runs to process whatever process that was required on the part. It does that, and then it moves to the next machine and the next machine, and so on, n minus 1 n, right? Which uh, how many machines are required. So it has to go through all of that. So what we are trying to do is this, that if only you can ideally make it to 1 machine, that this machine should be able to process all those, what do you call, should be able to handle all those processes, right, that were done by individual machines. So that's what is there diagrammatically, if you can see. Okay, so is that clear? Very simple, right? Reducing the number of machines, and this machine should be so designed that it should be able to uh, do those processes, right, all in one, basically, you can call it. Clear, right? Or any doubts? Okay, then, so you see the first kind, machining center. Today's machining centers are CNC with control of 4 or 5 axes, as I told you. Presently we have these 4 or 5 axes. Axis in the sense I told you, what does that mean? Instead of 3 axes we are having 4 or 5. What does that mean? We only have x, y, and z, right? Then what does this 4 or 5 means? I had told you this, that not only you have three axes like X, Y, and Z. Okay, I'll annotate here. That not only do you have this X, Y, and Z, okay, translations in X, Y, and Z, but you also have rotations, right? Each individual rotation counts as one axis. If your machine is able to rotate like this, if the tool is able to rotate like this while also translating, then you have this fourth axis. You can call it as fourth axis. Okay, that's your fourth axis. If you can rotate about this also, that's your fifth axis. Okay, so more the axis, more the maneuverability that you have, more the control over the tool that you have, right? So that's what we mean by four or five axis. Okay, and those are required in cases where you have several complicated features, geometries involved, right? So typical cutting operations performed on a machining center use a rotating cutting tool for operations such as milling, drilling, reaming, or tapping. Okay, so these are the standard operations that are performed on machining centers: milling, drilling, reaming, tapping. Okay, milling being the most common. The most common machining center that you would find in the industry is the milling center. Okay, milling machining center, CNC milling is what you call. So that and machining centers are classified as vertical, horizontal, or universal. The three kinds you can categorize if you want to do it with respect with if you want to classify it with respect to the orientation of the machine spindle. So we are looking at the orientation of the machine spindle and we are classifying them as vertical, horizontal, or universal. So vertical machining center has a spindle on it on a vertical axis relative to the work table, right? So with respect to the work table, if the work table is like this, then your machining center spindle is like this, vertical, right? So that's your work table, and this is your spindle, machine spindle. So hence suitable for flat work that requires tool access on the top. So if you place a tool a workpiece here and you have to access it from the top, then this kind of machining center is more preferred, right? But that's what is being indicated, suitable for flat work that requires tool access from the top, right? Because it is vertical, it is easily able to access the top portion of this workpiece like that. And examples include your mold and die cavities, right? Your if you have seen how a die is manufactured, you will see that the machine tool comes from the top and it processes the part, it builds those cavities inside, removes the material. So has to be from the top, right? Because the sides are very solid. If you have observed, the sides of that mold are solid, material is removed in between as per the shape of the uh, die, right? As per the shape of the product that you want to mold, right? So it requires access from the top. So that's what is meant. Clear, right? Horizontal is used horizontal machining center used for cube shaped parts where tool access can best be achieved on the sides of the cube. So as opposed to that, if you want to do machining on the sides, right, not in the middle, on the sides, so that spindle has to come from here, right? So the access from the top is not required right now. What is required is from the sides. So therefore horizontal spindle would be very much suited here. So that's why you have this horizontal machining center also in the industry. So you can do machining from the sides, right? Or either inspection or either cutting, right? All these categories are there. Universal milling center has a workhead that swivels its spindle axis to any angle between horizontal and vertical, making this a very flexible machine tool. So universal, as the name suggests, you have it at any angle you can set it. there's a swivel block which will rotate, right? That spindle is now able to rotate also. So you can do it anywhere between this horizontal and vertical, right? Anywhere in between, this can move. That's what is meant here, to any angle between horizontal and vertical, making this a very flexible machine tool. So at any angle, if you want to do machining, just swivel the machine tool and start working. It's that simple. Okay. Examples include your airfoil shapes and other curvilinear geometries, right? Curvilinear in the sense you have these, uh, if you have observed that, what do you call, the turbine blade I shown you, right? How difficult is it to manufacture those turbine blades, right? So that counts as your curvilinear geometries. Okay, so have to have access at any angle. So that requires your universal machining center. Those are best suited for these curvilinear geometries. Okay, aerofoil shapes also same thing, right? You see, this is how your vertical machining center looks like. That spindle, if you can observe that horizontal spindle, right? This is your horizontal spindle, and there is your console, your interface unit, and all the other accessories. You can see this chain type of wiring here, so that it can move up and down, right? So that's your vertical machining center, and this is your work table. So with respect to the work table, the machine spindle is vertical, right? That's what is meant. Horizontal machining center, if you can observe, there is your horizontal, you see, that's your spindle. Okay, if I can enlarge it, you see, that's your spindle, and this is your work table, right? So that spindle, how is it? It is horizontal, right? It's not accessed from the top, it's accessed from the sides, right? The workpiece will be kept here, and it is able to do machining, right? The tool will move, and the workpiece, I believe this work table can rotate, so that you can give the different sides to this tool for it to machine it, right? Is this clear? That's your horizontal machining center. With respect, orientation is with respect to the work table. That's the most important thing to remember, right? And that's your universal machining center, right? As I told you, it can swivel. So you see here that the different work pieces are there, they are going in, right? The operator is operating that machine, so it requires a very hefty setup, you can say. And generally these are very costly when compared to your horizontal and vertical ones, because to be able to give that angular degree of freedom requires a hefty setup, an expensive setup, and a setup that has too many design features, right, for it to implement. So that's what makes it a very huge setup, you can say, hefty in the sense, right? Clear, right? Or any doubts? Okay. uh, yes, these machining centers are designed with several features to reduce non-productive time, right? That's the general motive. And what are the typical features that are able to achieve this? You have an automatic tool changer, right? As we had discussed, the ability to change the tool automatically and within a lesser amount of time. So for that, variety of machining operations means that a variety of cutting tools are required, isn't it? That's where this comes into picture, because you're saying that you should be able to do multiple operations. So multiple operations require multiple tools to be changed. So tool storage unit is integrated with the machine tool, right? That storage unit has to be there, right? It's not that we are supplying the tools. You have a dedicated tool storage unit attached with the machine tool. That's what is meant, integrated. When a cutter needs to be changed, the tool drum rotates to the proper position, and an automatic tool changer, or what is called an ATC, right? That's what we call, exchanges the tool in the spindle, right? So that tool drum will rotate. I have shown you the mechanism, right? That 180-degree movement of the tool gripper, right? So that's what changes the tool. So you take the tool currently, which is in the spindle, and rotate it 180 degrees. So on the other hand of the gripper, you have a new tool that you want to place. So 180-degree movement changes the tool, and then you fix it, right? Once that is in place, you fix it like that. So uh, I think I haven't shown you this automatic tool changer video, right? If possible, we'll see today. Okay, this automatic tool changer, how does it changes the tool, right? Capacities range from 16 to 80. So it could be 16, right? From 16 it could even go to up to 80, depends on the size of the drum. Okay, so that's what is there, tool storage capacity. And then automatic work part positioner, as the name suggests, it positions the work part, capability to orient the work part relative to the spindle, right? So basically we talked about feeding, right? Mechanical feeding, part feeding devices. So you can say, and we had come across orienter there also, right? So in here also we are trying to do the same thing. You're trying to orient the work part relative to the spindle. So automatic work part positioner, so that has to also to be automated, right? All these features are there in the machining center, accomplished by means of a rotary table on which the part is fixtured. Table can be oriented at any angle about a vertical axis to permit the cutting tool to access almost the entire surface of the part in a single setup. So in a single setup, what you're trying to do is you're trying to orient the workpiece in such a manner that the tool can process it, right? So that need not have to set up it again and again. Okay, so it should be able, the two cutting tool should be able to access the almost the entire surface of the part in a single setup. So the orientation should be so, okay. And it has a rotary table for that, we have seen, right, in that example, right? That table you can see there, right? That rotary table. Automatic pallet changer. So you see, machining centers are often equipped with two or more separate pallets, right? That can be present to the cutting tool using an automatic pallet changer. So even this feature is what makes this possible. That to be able to handle the workpieces, you require pallets, right? So the change of that pallet also is automated here. While machining is being performed with one pallet in position at the machine, the other pallet is in a safe location away from the spindle, isn't it? So you can see here, we'll yes, here you see that's your automatic pallet changer. You see automatic pallet changer integrated with a CNC horizontal machining center. You see, this is clear now. In that image it was not very clear. If you can observe this spindle, how is it? It is horizontal with respect to this table, right? It's not like this, it's like this. So what we are trying to demonstrate here is, you have a CNC horizontal machining center, okay, but what we are trying to demonstrate is automatic pallet changing. You see, these are your pallets, okay, those are your pallets. And what we are trying to do is, you're trying to change the pallet, okay. Once this part uh, once the part is fed with the pallet, okay, the machine starts processing it, okay. So this pallet is free, right? That you can keep another part here which is going to be processed next. You can keep it here, right? That's what is meant, safe location. You can keep the part in a safe location on this pallet. Once the processing of this part is done, this pallet will move here, okay, and then you can rotate that, So this rotation, and then feed the another part, take out the finished part, right? So that's your load and unload position, pallet rails, so that you can transfer this pallet there. Automatic tool changer, you see, ATC is also demonstrated here, right? So that's how that gripper will rotate. That's your gripper. Okay, it will take tool from the storage unit and change the tool in the spindle. Okay, that's a very simple version, but we do need simplicity, right, to be able to understand. So that is what is meant, that while machining is being performed with one pallet in position at the machine, the other pallet is in a safe location away from the spindle. So in that safe location, the operator can unload the finished part from the prior cycle and then fixture the raw part for the next cycle, right? So that capability is there when you have these automatic pallet changing system. So nonetheless, you see, uh, the operator is loading the workpiece onto the pallet. Yes, that is still there, but the ability to change the pallet, that is handled by the machine. Okay, that mechanism is there, and that is inbuilt. Okay, built into the machine for it to change that pallet. Okay, clear, right? What we are trying to, what I'm trying to say. Okay, so you see turning center, that's your another type. So as the name suggests, it's specifically for turning, right? In the earlier case, we saw milling, we saw that the ability of that machine is that it can do milling also, drilling, reaming, tapping, all of those. But in here, you are only specifically dedicating this machine for turning. That's why you're calling it turning center. So you see in this diagram, you have that setup, CNC controls, workpiece, chuck, right? It's placed horizontally because obviously you do it, you do turning horizontally, right? On the lathe machine also we have this horizontal kind of setup. So similarly you have it here, but one thing is that you have this turret here, right? Turret for turning tools. So for all the turning tools will be kept here in this turret, basically a tool drum, you can say. Okay, it has all the tools on it, and we can change this tool. Same capabilities apply here, that you can, that you're able to change the tool automatically, right? Based on the tool number, you have these pocket numbers on these turret. Okay, whenever in the program you're specifying T05 tool 5, the turret will rotate and it will come to tool 5 and it will automatically change the tool. With the present tool it will replace, T05 will be kept, and after that, as per the instructions, either the coolant will be on or the work part will be fixtured, etc., right? So in the program it will be specified as per the tool number. Okay, that's very important. And this is a turret for drills, reamers, etc. Okay, all of those kinds. Specifically for turning tools you have this turret. This is your sliding door, that's your safety feature, right? Once you have loaded the workpiece and everything is done, you have to start machining, you close this sliding door and the viewing window, right? So advanced features of turning centers include work part gauging, checking key dimensions after machining. So even that is there. You can have a probe, okay, installed, which will measure this. Work part gauging is also another feature in some turning centers. Okay, checking key dimensions after machining, not all the dimensions, but key dimensions. Okay, so that feature is there. Tool monitoring, sensing when the tools are worn. So even that diagnostics, tool diagnostics is also included. Okay, tool monitoring. automatic tool changing of, because you see for tool monitoring, it also accounts for tool life, right? Like you have to check for the tool life, how much hours is it working, right? So how will it do that? Because you have completely automated system, it knows how much hours, how much productive hours have the tool being used for working. Because many tools are there, you have to maintain the data of all of the tools, right? For example, T05 tool was used 10 times, right, for the past 15 days, and it worked for like 300 hours or 400 hours. So you see, for example, if you had 80 tools here, so each tool data has to be kept, right? The machine has to keep the data for all of that so that you can monitor that, right? And you can decide whether the tool life is over, can the tool still be used, right? Or is it one that will get defective products if we continue to use the tool. Okay, so all of that counts as tool monitoring, right? Otherwise your quality of the product will be less, your dimensions will not be exact, surface quality will not be exact, right? You even have vibration problems, and your machine life will also be affected. Okay, the total machine turning center's life will be affected because of that. Because attached to the tool is chuck and all of these things, like you, they all are in a relationship with each other, right? So negligence to take care of one part will lead to deterioration in other parts, right? That's what is meant. Automatic tool changing also of worn tools. So how do you do that? When you have, when you're tool monitoring, right? Tool monitoring in place, if you have it, then tool changing also you can do. Automatic tool changing we have seen, right, how is it done. And automatic part changing at the completion of the work cycle. So even part changing is there. Clear, right? So no doubts, right? Okay, so you see, uh, that's your turning center, and next one is your mill turn center. So as the name suggests, you have a combination of milling and turning here, right? So able to do both milling and turning. So if you can see that this turning tool, right, is able to turn that, and after that what you're doing is basically, what we want to do is this is the output that we require. The final product is this. Okay, we require this to be manufactured. So as you can see, you have these you can see that you have to perform turning, and there are some square features also, right? Prismatic kind of features. So you require milling, you can see a hole there, you require drilling, right? So all these features are required. If you look at the part, you can decide, okay, all these features are required, therefore I have to send it to a turning center first and then the milling center first. So instead of that, and also drilling. So instead of that, if we can make it in one center, okay, there is one center called mill turn center, right, which can do turning also, as you can see in one, right, turning tool, milling cutter, right? If you have these installed, then you can even do milling, which will achieve this prismatic kind of shape at the end, right? So this will rotate, and you are able to achieve this prismatic kind of features. And then drilling, if you have the drill bits attached, you can even do drilling, right? And then finally cut off, right? The usual operation after every other operation, cut off tool will cut it off from the blank, right? So finally you get this product. Okay, so these features are there on a mill turn center, right? And so That's what is there. And another thing, yes, this is only limited to small diameter parts, okay, that you cannot handle a higher diameter parts, okay, that's the limitation. But if it is for smaller parts, yes, this is the best machine if you want to go for both. If your features have more milling and turning features, right, your products have both of those features, then it is better to take a mill turn center, right, so that you can handle it at just one machine. Therefore your setup time would be reduced, and productive time, yeah, will be increased like that. So if you have a bigger diameter parts, what to do? Then you go for a specialized turning or milling machine, okay, that's what is meant here, that only smaller diameter parts can be done. As for a multitasking machine, you see, you have this 5 axis control here, as I was mentioning, that even for the tool, you see that you have this y movement, okay, this tool is able to move in y. And if you, for example, if you want to achieve the movement in z, what do? You move this bar, right? This is able to move in z, right? So that is there, and it can all even rotate, right? The rotation is also there, that this tool can rotate, that's 1 degree of freedom. This workpiece can rotate, this work table can rotate, that's another degree of freedom. It can translate also, that's another degree of freedom. So you have 5